I was almost something. I almost began. I almost got started. Changed flesh into man. Almost a poet, stitching words from wine. The dark balladeer in search of a rhyme. So nearly a judge commanding the case. I was almost an actor, except for this face. Almost in commerce, trading lies for success. I was almost a savior for those who confess. Oh, a life full of joy, a life in grief, a life of abundance, a life too brief, almost mistaken, partially right, half in the shadows. Oh, I was so close to the light. Oh, so small in your coldness, so swollen in heat, close to uplifted, so nearly complete. I was almost a husband, I was almost a man, the chains of my being anchored in sand. So lost in my darkness, oh, so radiant in grace. I'm just killing time, trying to find my place. Almost a lover, almost a friend, almost a beginning, almost an end. I was almost something. I almost began. I almost got started. Changed flesh into man. I was almost something. I almost began. I almost got started. Changed flesh into man. Can you hear that? That, my friends, is the sound of silence. Well, let me tell you something. For me, silence isn't silence anymore. I hear it now, singing and spitting its hot breath across the coils, pushing itself into spaces, obdurate and invasive as the moon. Silence makes noises now. At night, it freights the darkness with its lolling tongue, teasing my eyelids with incantations, telling me it loves me. when I know it doesn't. Oh boy. Silence is a poor and lying lover. Beside me, it does not move. Its blackness hisses lies. Resolute and spurned, it regards the ceiling, coiled and waiting. I hear it, urging me to speak. Ballaloona, see that beautiful moon? It's a beautiful moon. Ballaloona. I have this recurring dream where D.H. Lawrence and Ernest Hemingway pin Emily Dickinson to the floor while Sylvia Plath tickles her without mercy. I don't know why these particular authors are involved or what any of this means. But afterward, in the dream, Emily Dickinson writes a poem about a tree, and then another one about a spider that spins a web from the earth to the moon. Oh, Ballaloona. Beautiful. In another dream that I have sometimes, Sylvia Plath and Emily Dickinson lie in each other's arms, just staring at that web, suspended across the night sky like a trellis of tears, silvered and wet with love. In the darkness, beautiful. True confessions time, folks. It's about time I fessed up, I think. You see, I'm not a poet, really. Just some guy who encounters words sometimes and writes them down in a sequence ordained or otherwise chained to a meaning, on pages bleached with laughing, as per my instructions. It's sort of like, it's like applying lipstick to a mannequin, or fastening on the luminous shield of the snowman's face those bright, unflinching button eyes that cannot perceive but have the wisdom to disregard the rain. And so do my words before me lie, buttons fixed to the snowman's face. Dark on white, inhaling light. Black holes on canvas, waiting for the pages to melt. Upon this page, I nail the finite phrases they embedded in my brain. Not even the sweetness of this summer night or the sculptured logic of your face can free more words or drive these singing little clusters we might call poems we use to soak up sorrow. The time will come. The time will come when I can no longer order the words upon the page as I am pretending to do here. Not even senseless words, chained to their inconsequence and the raw drip of their meaning. Oh, at this purpled hour, my love for you will deepen its irreverent stain into the eager blotter of your beauty. You will hold my hand in that tidy reverential fold you save for the generous moments. We will remember the beach and the boardwalk and the night we swallowed the moon in our happiness. Oh, again we see the lake ignite with the punctures of 1,000 stars. Your skin becomes the rivers and the meadows of my breathing. Into your round harbor I curl as a child. Your voice a hypodermic. This poem, the needle, piercing my flesh with my own words. Of course. How could I forget that fucking raccoon? Memories are made of this. Inexorable. I cleaned the fence almost reverently, just to have that foul raccoon plod back and shit on it all over again. Impervious to the tenderness of my endeavor and efforts to rid the world of his horror. Listen up, my friends. This is how the hours illuminate the clock, preventing anything from stopping, even when we sleep. Jets trail their vapor in frayed ropes across a night sky, while the windows glow like pilot lights. And that raccoon lumbers its fat ass back into place for yet another glorious crap. How still this night and sweet abiding. The ferns within the umber waving are just lovely, bending now their frayed and leathered spines toward the morning light. All is aching, all is wanting here, amid the splendor of the night receding, the plume from my cigar redeeming, held fast in its blue air receiving, just the breath in lifting wafers of 1,000 babies breathing. The cigarette. Last night I went to bed with the cigarette beside my head. Into that stillness, searing its lazy little fuse. Hard nipple soft unto twilight, soft nipple rosy unto dawn. As a single beam might illuminate its truth before the rolling cemetery of the stars, then so the cigarette, solitary in its burn, steadfast in its one conclusion. I awoke to this ragged cylinder of ash, still branded yet into the bedside table, the residue, one might say, of loneliness. There to remind of rivers gliding by, of my hands perfumed forever by your hair, and beyond the motel window, the morning, huge and round and orange, rising over the breathing town. Shh. Shh. Can you hear that? It sounds like rain. But it isn't. It isn't. It's just the corn, scraping its dry and boneless hands onto the polished stars and begging. Oh, that corn is just begging. It's begging, please. And oh, it sounds like praying. But it isn't. It isn't. It's just the fraying and the wailing of the trains in the valleys, leaving the lovers waving from ribbon platforms. And it sounds like bells over the rivers, rolling their dark hammers, tolling. It isn't. It isn't. It's just the seawall foaming, the deck chairs folding, the green waves scrolling, white-nippled and breathing hard under a reddened sky and begging. All those waves, they're just begging. They're begging, please. Oh, in these soft and healing shadows, we invent the sounds that best instruct our longing, that leave us at the altar bleeding, so broken and kneeling, sweetly punctured and grieving, for why we so often leave. But sometimes we yield to that tugging at the sleeve, and we stay. Yes, sometimes we yield to that tugging at the sleeve, and we stay. That apocalyptic dance music, our favorite genre. Shall we dance, my friends? Shall we dance to the apocalypse? For the end is nigh. Shall we do a jig to the apocalypse? For they're gonna find that black box in our wreckage and let us know what failed. They're gonna find that black box in our wreckage and let us know what failed. Papa, papa, papa. You taught how love is best accorded, how the rose is cut, then pressed and folded. Well, they're gonna find that black box in our wreckage and let us know what failed. You taught that feelings must be sorted, how the fuse is best aborted. Well, the bombs and ricin are in the envelopes, baby, and the letters, the letters have been mailed. There's the truth and what's purported, what's decried and what's applauded. Sometimes love is seeking harbor where the heart's already sailed. There's the lie and what's reported, what's abandoned and what's supported. Oh, we slash the face of beauty, but the scars have all been veiled. Love is ridiculed. Love is lauded. It's lost, but it's all recorded. They're gonna find that black box in our wreckage and let us know what failed. Shall we dance, my sweet? Shall we dance to the apocalypse? For the end is coming. Do-do-do. Oh, we slash the face of beauty, but the scars have all been veiled. And they're gonna find that black box in our wreckage and let us know what failed. The envelopes have all been mailed. The bums and ricin are in the envelopes. Play that fiddle. You dance beautifully, my sweet. Thank you so much. Black box indeed. What do I know about black boxes? Remember when I wrote this? I remember this one. I just want to love you. I tried smoking cigarettes, but the ash was too pale. The smoke was too blue. My dreams were too frail to stand up to you. I thought fingers of scotch might do the trick, but the nose was too sweet with its toffee and spice. I can't love you neat. I cannot stand you with ice. I tried all the drugs I could find on the street, but most made me placid. With some, I was berserk. With some, I was flaccid. With most, just absurd. You see, I just want to love you. There must be a narcotic that guards against hurt, and I'll search till I've got it. The potion that works. And then there were the sparrows. Please realize that it was late, that the darkness became so tender. And your hair was damp. And in that confluence, leering at the junctions of our love, I mistook your thighs for wine and drank deeply, oh so deeply, before that clenched and frightened altar of your sorrows. We left, I'm told, together, your place or mine, I no longer remember. For easy in my love, easy in my wisdom, I hailed you across the tributaries of my seed, cradling within the earnest basket of my hands your face toward the starlight. And sometimes when we made love, I would watch the sparrows on the tree outside. their breath almost visible, their shapes still and steaming before the wintry edge of falling shadow. Oh, in time you let another drink your wine. And often now I recall those sparrows, huddled in their grace beyond the glass, so uniform, so placid, so trembling and so lovely in the waning light. And in a most curious way, I thank them. I thank those sparrows for watching over me and for the vast, unfailing beauty of their sameness. Oh, sometimes the poems come from the dancing, and sometimes from sorrow and shame. But always they're wild like the ponies, dancing in pastures of rain. Yes, always they're like ponies unbridled, their nostrils wide and flared by the sea. And always they'll laugh at the saddle, then bristle, rear up and break free. This is how love poems come to be written. It's how words prance and then dance and get into line. It's how language slows to a rhythm that defies both logic and time. So again, I watch other people dancing. I sense the ponies, I smell the hay and the sea. I breathe deeply to inhale your beauty. And I begin another poem for thee. And the snow is piling high along the lines, and the drifts are biding time like the tides. And I'm folding now into you, and I feel you folding too, as words will bend to prayer in their rhymes. We're told the revolution is on hold for the night. The snow is deep, and there are no children left to fight. But within this little room, the roses are in bloom. Oh, we transcend and lift our faces to the light. And the wind is blowing lovely through the pines, and the birds array like commas on the wires. Within my hands your breasts are true. It's how I cradle the heart of you as we help ease this planet through its fires. And the snow sifts in smoky runnels through the fields. The world is torn, and it's born again, then it heals. Oh, I wish I could will it all away. Just bend to your breast and stay in this place where our love comes to kneel. And I'll hold you until morning breaks clear, until the dawning and the armies are near. But to this curtain now I swear, there shall be no rent or tear, for my love shall be your shield and your spear. And the snow is piling high along the lines, and the drifts are biding time like the tides. And I'm folding now into you, and I feel you folding too, as words will bend to prayer in their rhymes. Woman thinks her life is like staccato. It's hard, piercing, rough edges, sharp, rhythmic needles of longing. Nothing is continuous, no conclusions. It's chains of starting and stopping, its exits, its entrances, vignettes. Woman carries her pain, weeps often. I need anchors, links, things to hold me, a basket for my heart. Cat watches with smoky boredom. Cat perceives, objectifies, weeps with woman or does not. Just cat on bed, watching woman weep, cat detached, only able to relate to own pain, own desires. Woman strokes cat, cat yields slow murmur, rolls head under caressing fingers. Cat adores attention. Woman identifies with cat, weeps more, imprints the torn flag of her soul. Prints the torn flag. Its exits and entrances, its vignettes. It's stopping and starting. It's sharp, rhythmic needles, longings. She imprints the torn flag of her soul. It's exits and entrances, vignettes. It's all bits and pieces. It's bits and pieces. Life is like staccato. Woman thinks her life is like staccato. Hard, piercing, rough edges, sharp, rhythmic needles of longing. Nothing is continuous. Nothing is continuous. Nothing is continuous. Sharp rhythms, stopping and starting, rolling backwards and forwards. It's grace of cat is constant. Cat is constant. Woman holds cat close. Woman embraces cat. Woman smiles. Cat is many things cat is not. Cat is not staccato. Cat hears woman's heart beating. Your awareness has become a presence now. A space you've somehow filled with space, your shape on the bed still rosy with your fragrance. Filling the house, the clock ticks. The only moving thing, resolute as a pallbearer's boots. In the afternoon, clouds roll in. Before cold fists of rain staccato the windows. On the flowered bedspread, the cat finds your shallow grave to inhale your sleep, rhythmic as the rain. Even the cat's breathing is audible on this day as time passes on schedule and without consequence. Leaves burn their shape into the wet pavement. Come spring, they'll still be there, dusty shadows of being, scalded into the crust like nuked bodies, blasted into nothingness. Oh, when I am gone, will your flesh be branded with the lovely stain of who I was, of all I gave to our singing vision of immortality. Oh, when I am gone, I hope you see me always, stamped on your landscape, the very image of me, a part of all your journeys, boundless and pressed without limit into your soul. It gets to the point. It gets to the point where you simply cannot, or you no longer think you can, even move, or address the way your weight invents the bed, distributes pain to newfound pockets of longing. The fire on your tongue goes out, and you just lie there, listening to the seawall roll of your heaviness, the breathless tears of blood clenching into unthinkable laughing fists. No longer can you dream. You can only look back now. And this you do with a tenderness searing and lucid. You look back until your eyes grow heavy with peace and you are allowed to see for the first time that only through this ending comes the permission to be born again. Painkiller. What a weird word. Pain killer. Pain killer. Pain killer. Pain killer. Pain killer. Curious word that, isn't it? I don't know of any other noun we kill so unceremoniously. But it is a fascinating word, isn't it? Captivating, I might say. Pain killer. I could stare at that word all day. I think I will. I'll stare at it all day. Stare it down. In my spine, the sun is setting. White embers of explicit something, but I can't say exactly what. Hills and trees are famously eliminated from the landscape. I could walk for hours now. I think I will. I'll walk for hours. Out this room, along this featureless dial, this clock face with its hands gone, where I move with such effortless dignity. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Was it large needles and small thread? Or was it small thread and large needles that quilt into whole cloth our daily bleeding, that weld our pieces into such a soft and heaving fury? I don't remember. At dusk on black and stuttering wings, the bats came out to argue the guttering heavens. Small under a rosy sky, we drank more wine and laughed, toasting our love for each other. Or perhaps I think it is the finest needles and the most exquisite thread that stitch such brimming, greedy minutes to bring us friends like these on nights like this. There. There is the hat that I wore that night to that dinner in Rome. Do you remember that? Well, the dinner, I mean, not the hat. And there is the fountain off the piazza where we sat that night in Rome, with the men in cravats and the diplomats, and your shoulders so white, and the heavens so vast. Do you remember that? And there are the stairs to the stars in the flat, where you sat on the bed in Versace red, such a beautiful dress with those thin white straps. Those thin white straps that I slipped from your shoulders as white as the straps. I slipped from your shoulders and over your ass. And you said you loved me. But I was moving too fast. And I said, just take me. I'm a prisoner lashed to your mast. And you laughed then and there with the moon in your hair. Do you remember that? When I said I could see the moon in your hair, like a coin in the sand suddenly bare, or a koi in the shallows shimmering there. And how then on the bed I kissed the top of your head in that moon-spun air. And in that night so blue I blessed the dew on your body. But we didn't make love because we just didn't have to. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Because I do. I remember that every time I stare at that hat over there. So silent and black, its fabric now slack, but still it remains stubbornly there, just a hat in a room on a chair. And whether bathed in shadow or sun, that hat's monochrome. It makes me think only of Rome, of how things begin and how they may end, of the things we can't heal and the things we can't mend. And now, night after night, the one poem I can write is just this one. It is this one, over and over and over again. the poet. In this summer silence, hermetically still as time bleeds across the sprinklered lawns, is my whole life shining, charged and fused with its wick of burning flesh. Oh, how I knew it then, before the bleached wires of sun, how a life in art spiders its dark stain into the gray, hard rocks, into these trailing hearts we chase, but never catch. The waits. When the waits come, they come as eyelids oiled with prosecution. The case closed and the verdict final as a casket descending. On these days, the flowers stay hard inside their buds, like stars astonished into vapor. Outside the children play on the failed missiles, like cowboys joyfully riding into sunset. But still the waits come, this time as eyelids seared into severed heads, deadened. Oh, on these nights, I fit inside your skin so that I might experience nothing. Oh, hold me, dear one. Oh, dear one, hold me while I listen to the silence until it tells me what I am supposed to hear. Nails. There are the nails that bind our houses with their iron thread, that sew us together with their rusty rivers of trust behind our steel gray walls. And there are the nails of the rail yards, those coolie spikes that divide and join with the vastest interest of clouds soundlessly drifting over meadows before the prisms of our indecision. My mother's knitting needles were likewise a form of nails, flashing with a metallic insolence that could within themselves register within me such a confused and fierce love, and yet a certain bleeding. And later, of course, there are the caskets, where the nails are so final, solid, hammered endings driven home like rivets to still our longing. And I suppose there are also those classic nails of rain, and those nails we pound with our fists, and those nails we insert into partial bombs, and the nails we pass through wrists. As a poet, I was not sent here to be lovely. Perhaps my role is just to proclaim. And maybe it's true that poems are just nails sometimes. We drive through truth to expose the stain. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be the one with the soft edges and the hard reality. But it's deathbed time now, the hour of revelation. Listen up, my friends. Nothing gets solved. Nothing. And from here on in, I rag nobody. This Macallan 18 commands worship of a higher enterprise. I have boarded an abandoned streetcar of embrace and goodbye. But I like it here. And the waitress is beginning to sound like bells. Outside, the fog has taken the air away. Birds drip and sag from the wet wires. The harbor has surrendered to the lilt and bend of shapes. This place is almost empty now, save that couple by the window, toiling in the vast embroidery of love. On the table, look. On the table she places her small white hands, and for too long they lie there, frightened and alone against the dark wood. And then over them, look, over them he places his own, captures in his own the small, white, frightened loaves of her hands. And he raises them to his lips, and she watches his face. And she says, yes, yes, this is what I wanted, yes. Such are the small mercies enacted in Port Mattoon before the dripping robins. Play that fiddle, my friend. Our Lady of the Bells comes, pays me a visit. She leans across the bar and she says, well, what have we learned today? And that is when I write this down. My lifetime of accumulated knowledge, tempered by Mr. Macallan, and all the poems that have leaked out of me for more than 70 years. That love retreats from sorrow, and sorrow from the rags of love. That the line upon the page, it is the only truth, though words can result in darkness. And too often it is the human heart, I think, that fails against the gray folds of rain. I was almost something. I almost began. I almost got started. Changed flesh into man. Almost a poet. Stitching words from wine. The dark balladeer in search of a rhyme. So nearly a judge commanding the case. I was almost an actor, except for this face. Almost in commerce, trading lies for success. I was almost a savior for those who confess. Oh, a life full of joy, a life in grief, a life of abundance, a life too brief. Almost mistaken, partially right, half in the shadows. Oh, I was so close to the light. So small in your coldness, so swollen in heat, close to uplifted, so nearly complete. I was almost a husband, almost a man, the chains of my being anchored in sand. So lost in my darkness, oh so radiant in grace. I'm just killing time, trying to find my place. Almost a lover, almost a friend, almost a beginning, almost an end. I was almost something. I almost began. I almost got started. Changed flesh into man. Oh, so infinite these sequels, so radiant this grace. I'm just killing time, trying to find my place.